Hello there, I'm Randy Cross, and this is Unsafe Spaces. This is Season 3, Episode 6. Thank you for joining me. We've got a little bit of the usual. No interview this week, so it'll be a little heavier on the sports side, obviously. But first, I wanted to have a quick little comment about something that went on in my weekend. I did the Navy-Lehigh game Saturday, which in and of itself was a little bit of a beatdown, obviously. But at halftime of that game, I was able to witness something that was truly amazing. And I just wanted to sort of, pass this along. We see things like the Congressional Medal of Honor being awarded time to time by the president. And then it's on the news and it's kind of gone. Well, 38 of the 72 living recipients were in Annapolis this last Saturday, and they were at that game. And I had a chance to sort of do a little review on the Congressional Medal of Honor. Over 3,000 recipients total. Like I said, 72 are living. And it is, do yourself a favor. Go to CMOHS.org and learn about the Congressional Medal of Honor. And it's a Congressional Medal of Honor Society's website. It's a great group. They do reunions and gatherings every single year. This last weekend was the first time their gathering was at a military academy. So that was very unique. But spend some time. We all spend so much wasted time staring at your phone or staring at your computer for just mindless, mind-numbing garbage. Go to that website. Go to and learn something about these Medal of Honor winners. Read some of these stories, and you start to appreciate what a real hero is, what real bravery is, what real service is. Not this crap that gets thrown around in the sports section every day. Oh, he's so brave. Look at him. That's garbage. These guys are real American heroes. These guys have zero regard for themselves, and they're all about the people they served with. So they should be honored every single day. This is bravery. This is stepping forward for something bigger than yourself. And I'm just so proud to be able to have been there and just to take the time. Like I said, CMOHS, that S is for society, CMOHS.org, and study about your nation's highest medal that can possibly be earned by anybody is this one. Learn about it. You should. It should be part of every single history class, every single grammar school, middle school, high school, college. Learning about this should be mandatory. Unfortunately, most people have no idea what it is. And that's really a shame. But I'd love to change that. Check it out. All right. Let's go right now to Unsafe Spaces Sports. All right, a little Unsafe Spaces Sports. Lots and lots of college. There were some great games this weekend. And we'll sort of do an inverted top 10, okay? And then a couple extra games that I want to make note of. Number one game, which is actually number 10, was the Washington Huskies. They went to Utah, and man, did they take care of business. 21-7 was the final score, and Utah is now 2-8 in their or 2-6 in their last 8 games against Pac-12 opponents. Stanford took on UC Davis. And let's be perfectly clear, a lot closer than it should have been. 30-10, but they did it without any Bryce Love. He did not play in this game. Notre Dame played Vandy. I picked Vandy to upset Notre Dame. I was almost right. Vandy had plenty of chances. It should have been a Vandy win, but Notre Dame, for the second week in a row, hangs on. Auburn was number 7. They lost to LSU 22-21 on a last-second field goal. Just a heartbreaker. Every War Eagle fan out there had just a little chunk of their ticker missing Saturday night. That was an unbelievable finish. They'll blame it on the pass interference. Whatever. You lost. Deal with it. Wisconsin played BYU. Wisconsin's calling card is we're big, we're physical, we're badasses. Well, BYU came in there, and they were just as big. They were more physical, and their degree of badassery was higher. So if Wisconsin was a third-degree badass, well, BYU, a lot of the game, was a fourth-degree badass. And the score reflects it, 34-21 BYU. Oklahoma played Iowa State. This was a game that a couple of years ago was such a big upset. And Oklahoma did their business and dealt with Iowa State 37-27. Lots of offense in this one. This other game, the next game, number 4, Ohio State. They went to TCU. And yeah, I know it was at Jerry's World. It was in Arlington. Was that 5 miles from Texas Christian's campus in Fort Worth? But anyway, Ohio State, great job by Ohio State. I shall never mention their head coach's name again. And I'm not talking about Ryan Day, because he's done a nice job as the interim. But Ohio State, those kids, they rallied. They're talented. They played really, really well. And they beat TCU 40-28. Next up was Georgia. Georgia played Middle Tennessee. And Georgia did to Middle Tennessee what Georgia should do to Middle Tennessee. They beat them 49-7. Georgia right now looking like the hottest team in the country. What more can you say? Jake Fromm takes care of the ball, and they run the ball down your throat, and they've got amazing defense. Anything else you're supposed to do? Oh, plus, by the way, they've got Rodrigo Blankenship, who's, I think, the best kicker in the country. He could help a lot of NFL teams right now. That's how good he is. All right. Next up, Clemson. Clemson played Georgia Southern, and Clemson kind of beat up on Georgia Southern. And, I didn't see a whole lot of this game, so I got to assume that Clemson kind of called off the dogs at 38-7. Should have been higher, but Clemson's still number 2 team. Number 1 team in the country, Alabama. And I got to raise my hand and say I was way wrong. Later in the week, last week, I started looking at numbers, looking at Ole Miss, and saying, man, they're about due to have another one of those big games. And while I was looking pretty good for about a minute, first minute of the game, they scored a touchdown. That's all they scored. Alabama put 62 on them. This looked like a major college football team versus a high school team. Congratulations to Alabama. What a fine effort by them. Now, there were 2 other games that I want to mention here that I just struck me. First was Texas and USC. Texas did something that they haven't done in quite a while. They showed heart. They showed will. They showed resilience and toughness and speed and all the great things that makes football such a really good game that have been so sorely lacking at the University of Texas. Well, they showed it Saturday, and they beat up on SC. And a little piece of me was glad to see SC lose like that, but it was more about Texas sort of reaffirming that they do have a pulse and a heartbeat. And the other one was San Diego State was playing Arizona State. And San Diego State's Rocky Long, again, proves a lot of people wrong. And in this case, his football team, the Aztecs, were ready to go. They had a substitute quarterback. They've got a running game that can run the ball on anybody. They've got a tough defense, and Herman Edwards' Sun Devils just came up a little bit short. Congratulations to San Diego State. I'll see you this weekend. All right? That'll do it for the college football side. Let's take a look at a few of the NFL scores that stood out. First one was the game that wouldn't die yesterday. That was the Giants at Dallas. Tell you what, Giants are in serious trouble. That offensive line is horrendous. Eli's getting beat up. And, boy, I'm sure glad they paid their wide receiver millions of dollars. They couldn't use that anywhere else. Congratulations to Jerry Jones and company and the Dallas Cowboys. Number 2 of the games from yesterday, Carolina and Atlanta. I was just landing at the end of this game, that last minute or so, as Carolina and Cam Newton were going for that tying touchdown. Very exciting game. Looked back on it a little bit when I got home. Matt Ryan, 2 rushing touchdowns. Probably one of the cheapest shots and most egregious late hits against somebody was perpetrated on Cam Newton yesterday. That player was thrown out of the game. And I won't even say his name, but I do believe he should be suspended for a month. Minimum a month. I'd have no problem with half a year. That was complete chicken shit. Period. And a report. All right. Third game made a lot of people happy, especially those that don't like the New England Patriots. Jacksonville, down in Jacksonville. Jalen Ramsey, corner DB for Jacksonville, has been running his mouth all offseason. Well, you know what? Keep running your mouth if you're going to play like this. They took out the Patriots. Almost made Gronkowski a non-factor. In fact, statistically, he basically was a non-factor. And they win this game. Blake Bortles, nice job. Good job as a quarterback. No one believes in the kid. But all he does is win, and people forget this was a rematch of the AFC Championship game from last season. And the final game that I'm going to make note of here was another tie, 29-29. Now, you're going to read about the hue and cry. We need to change the rules. Oh, my God, how can we have ties today in the NFL? Mainly it's for safety. You want to play endless games and see guys keep getting carted off? That's one of the main reasons you don't have endless football games. And I think when you look at it and it's all said and done and the standings are figured out, I think history proves that teams that have ties, especially contending teams, those ties usually end up helping, not hurting. So Green Bay and Minnesota fans, just take note, and that is what you got. To round out Unsafe Sports, there was an event Saturday night, and if you had 85 spare bucks just laying around, you could have seen Canelo Alvarez on the right hitting Triple G, Gennady Golovkin. It was a split decision for Alvarez. A lot of the people that I know that watched it thought it was at worst a draw, if not maybe Golovkin. But that's just me. The only thing I had problem with, $85? What are you people, high? And are people going to spend $85 for Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao 2? Wow. Well, stuff like that's just living proof that suckers are born every minute. That'll do it for Unsafe Spaces Sports. Time now to move on to Wambulance. Yeah, Wambulance this week is going to be kind of a combo. We're going to do a little only in Florida, and then we're going to have an homage to weather people, some of which you might have seen, but I'm going to do it anyway. All right, first, only in Florida. Check out this story.
The mobile home, they say, was working like a drive-through for drugs. You can even see the close sign. Look at that right there on the window.
Well, police say the suspects didn't want people coming in and out of their homes, so they set up that window, the drive-up, the walk-up window, to serve their customers, much like you would find at a fast food restaurant. Right now, William Parrish Jr. and Mackenzie Dobbs are facing charges for allegedly turning this mobile home into a drug house.
They both got arrested. They're in jail right now.
Police say they started investigating after they noticed a startling trend.
We were seeing some overdose incidents that were happening in this particular area, and specifically at this particular location.
Police say their investigation into the 4 overdoses led them to this 3100 Northwest 23rd Place home. There they learned
there were some heroin sales that were going on there. Subsequently, through the investigation, we were able to determine that that product was also laced with some fentanyl.
They say the couple turned this kitchen window into a drive-up, walk-up window. You can still see a sign letting people know that the place was closed for business. There's even an arrow at another window pointing to this window. This afternoon, we went to the home and saw broken glass where the agents entered when SWAT and the drug unit carried out the raid.
Fast food window in a mobile home selling heroin. Man. Hate to say it, but only in Florida. Now, when you get a bad review, you know, in the various social media apps that you can put your input for a restaurant, do you ever think of that people take these things a little bit too seriously at times? Check this out.
Investigators say a trio targeted the home of someone who wrote a negative review about a local diner.
The woman tells us that her disabled mother, she went to Daybreak Diner on her birthday to get her favorite meal. She says she was turned away, so her daughter posted her outrage on the internet, and the family says later that very night, bullets came flying through their home.
I still can't believe this is the world that we live in, where people are willing to shoot up somebody's house and kill for a bad restaurant review.
41-year-old Michael Johnson and 23-year-old Jesse Martin turning themselves into Orange County detectives yesterday on charges of shooting a gun into this home on August 20th. Monica Wally says her mother was denied service inside the Daybreak Diner on Curry Ford Road. Wally says she called the manager, who said her mother was a liability because of her medical condition and the business has the right to refuse service.
So I told her, like, you know, I'm going to take to social media. I'm going to tell everybody about how you treated my mom today.
Wally says within minutes, the post started spreading, with people adding their negative comments against the restaurant. Investigators say the post angered Johnson because his mother owns the diner.
Oh, yeah, Michael Douglas, great movie. Hey, not for nothing. And this criminal system will take its course. But you can't tell me the guy with the tattoos whose mom owns the diner isn't guilty. He just looks guilty. If guilty had a look, that'd be the picture under the word guilty. But beside that, you ever heard of a toupee? Is that like you get tattoos on the top of your head in lieu of hair? Now for the second segment of the Wambulance. There's been a lot of weather people in the news, and not all for the right reasons. Let's take a look at some of this stuff that went on over the last couple of days during Hurricane Florence. Wow, it must be blowing hard, huh? Wow, how do you stand up in that kind of wind?
Picking it up here in Wilmington, North Carolina. Right.
Wow, amazing! It doesn't blow him down the street. What? Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on now. Well, maybe the guys in the back are really strong.
Blowing by pieces of limbs. This is what we're seeing, a lot of shingles coming off.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, we've heard the term also now. Next up here is something that would qualify as fake news. Now, if you're a reporter and you want to make the wind look bad, you do that, and you get busted by people behind you. Now, if you're a reporter and you want to make the point that the water is deep, you do what's coming up here next to make that point. And when you want to make the point about it, water being, you know, deep, you want to say, hey, it's waist deep, it's knee deep. How deep is that? That's got to be 3-4 feet of water, right?
Today, a big group of law enforcement with swiftwater rescue boats heading out far.
Wow, how do you drive up? Well, wait a minute. Dude in the background's just walking through there. Well, maybe it drops off. Let's give him, you know.
Homes destroyed.
There, well, there's another guy.
Except we just can't show you those pictures because we can't get.
Oh, wait a minute. Look at this closely.
Flooding here.
Is this guy kneeling? He's kneeling in the water to make it look deeper.
But first, the severe flooding here in the Northeast is
now. Here's one from 2007.
NBC's Michelle Kaczynski, I guess she's in the canoe, is in Wayne, New Jersey this morning. Michelle, good morning to you.
Yeah.
Good morning. Well, obviously we're getting a nice break from the rain, but not the flooding. This is essentially now a part of the Passaic River in this neighborhood. It rushed in yesterday through the streets, and it's really tough to control a canoe or boat when you're out in it. It's much deeper back there because this is really...
Actually, Michelle, I'll take it. Is there some kind of severe drop-off there between the foreground? We'll go back. We saw these guys a second ago.
Yeah.
Michelle, walking. Are these holy men walking on top of water? What's going on here?
Why walk when you can ride, you guys? When you have a ride like this, why would you want to walk?
Have you run ashore yet?
2007.
Well,
that's
they
back.
Wouldn't let me go back into the deep water because they were afraid I would just drift out.
So that's from 2007.
Is your oar hitting ground, Michelle?
Is your oar hitting ground? And that's Matt Lauer there. So there's a whole different type of thing you'd like to get into, but we won't. Okay, time now for one really nice feel-good story. Before I was shown this story, I didn't know who Bob Williams was. And right now, you probably don't have any idea who Bob Williams is. But this is a guy you need to know. Here's Bob Williams.
Who's Bob Williams?
He's a man of few words, and he doesn't like to talk about himself.
Neighbor Bob is awesome.
People love him. He's known like everywhere.
It's always a good time when Bob's here.
He's Mr. Williams, he's Bob, but to everybody, he's the candy bar guy.
He has been buying you Hershey bars. Thank you, Bob, for 11 years.
I'm not sure how it started. It's just such a heartwarming act.
Who gives out these great big Hershey bars in this world? I mean, Bob Williams, of course.
Thank you so much.
You bet. See?
Thank you.
See, that's the reaction I get.
Thanks, Bob. I love it.
I like big Hershey bars. I like giant Hershey bars.
Well, everybody knows Hershey, and everybody likes Hershey bars.
He's just so generous. Always a kind word.
I thought, well, I could give somebody a Hershey bar. It puts a smile on their face.
Doesn't matter if he knows you, if you're a stranger. Everybody feels special when they get chocolate.
Thank you, Mom.
It's just amazing the people he has connections with.
Well, it just makes me feel good.
He's teaching all of us how to pay it forward.
I don't think he realizes the effect that he has on people.
It's the little things in life that make a big difference.
A lot of people could take lessons from him.
I don't have any complaints. I'm way ahead of the game. Way ahead of the game.
Isn't that a great story? Thank God for people like Bob Williams. And at 90 years old, may he keep passing out Hershey bars till Hershey runs out of bars. All right. Hey, want to thank you for joining us this week. Want to remind you, social media-wise, how you find us. You find us all over the place. You can get us at YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're pretty much everywhere. RandyCross.com, UnsafeSpacesUSA.com. And if you have any suggestions, send that to producer@UnsafeSpacesUSA.com. All right? Time now for us, at least for this week, to say happy trails.
Happy trails to you. Who cares about the clouds when we're together? Just sing a song and think about sunny weather. Happy trails to we meet.